everyone, and welcome to episode 55 of Book Writing Tips, quick tips for new and seasoned authors, and I am your host, Alba Arango. In today's episode, I want to go over the pros and cons of writing in different points of view. And the reason I picked this topic, even though I've actually done this topic like way back in the beginning, is because I do these short little 60-second YouTube and TikTok videos about writing and publishing, and someone wrote in the comments that no one should be writing in anything other than present tense first person ever. And I thought, well, okay. I mean, hey, they're entitled to their own opinion. But that got me thinking that maybe it's time to go back and talk about the different points of view, because ultimately it is your book and you get to decide what point of view you write your book in. So let's go over some of the pros and the cons of utilizing these different points of view in your writing. So let's get to it. Let's talk pros and cons of points of view. Alrighty then. Today's episode will be in two parts as always. In part one, I want to go over first person and the very unusual second person. And then in part two, I'll go over third person, both limited and third person omniscient. So let's get down to it. Let's start with first person. Now, what I'm going to talk about is good for either past or present. So if you're writing first person past or first person present, these pros and cons apply to both. Now, I know that first person present is kind of super popular in like young adult. It's, other categories also use it as well, but either past or present is good if you're writing first person. Now, what I mean by first person is this is where your book is written in the I, right? It is literally being told by your main character, and it's in their point of view, not just their point of view. They are literally using the word I, and they are telling you, the reader, the story. So in this case, there are a couple of pros to this. Now, if you're writing memoir, this is almost a given because you actually do want to be telling a memoir through your point of view, your personal experience. And that's actually one of the pros here is that readers get to know your main character really, really well when you are writing in first person. So if you're doing a memoir, you want your readers to know about you personally. You want them to feel your pain. You want them to see the story through your eyes because it is your story. But if you're writing fiction and you're writing in first person, then your reader is going to get to know your main character very, very well. It's very intimate. It's very personal. They are going to get to know your main character's thoughts and how they think and how they see things and how they see the world. So it's a very personal experience. And I do like first person a lot. One of the two main series that I have, one of them is actually in first person because I really like that character. And I wanted this story to all be told through his point of view, through his eyes, as he was seeing the world happening. Now, another thing that is a pro if you're writing first person is that your book is actually biased, which sounds, wait, isn't biased a negative? No. In this case, it's biased in a good way because you are seeing the story through that character's eyes instead of everyone else's eyes. And I think of a lot of like movie adaptations where you see the movie and it is, following the main character, but it's never that real intimacy that you get when you read the book and it's in first person. So like The Hunger Games, the movie was good. I enjoyed the movie, but I didn't really get that sense of intimacy that you get, like what she's thinking when these things are happening, that you do when you read the book. So that is one of those pros to actually writing in there, is that yes, it is biased, but it is biased in a good way because your reader really gets to know your character. Now, the cons of writing in first person is that it is very limiting, meaning that your reader can only know what your main character sees or hears. So if there's something happening in the other room, there's a murder happening or something, your reader, just like your main character, has no idea exactly what's going on because they can't see it. So you are limited in that you can't know what, even if you have another main character, you can't actually know what is going on with them if they are not in the room with your main character, because you can only write what your main character sees and hears and smells, not what any other character is doing at this time, because your main character can't see it or hear it or smell it or taste it or any of the lovely senses that you are writing. So it is limiting in that way. Another negative is that you can't actually know, your reader cannot actually know what other characters are thinking or feeling. So even if they're in the room with your main character might think they know what their best friend is thinking or what their husband is thinking, but the reader can't really know for sure, just like your main character can never really know for sure. I mean, yes, they've been married for 35 years, but you still can never really know. And so your reader can never really know. So everything is through the eyes of your main character, which has its pros and has its cons. Now, let's move on to the very unusual and elusive second person. Now, second person is when the narrator of your book is literally using the words you and your and speaking directly to the reader. Now, this is a very unusual way to write. And of course, if you're writing nonfiction, not memoir, right, you probably are going to be doing that in first person. But if you're writing like a self-help book, or if you're writing a how-to book, then second person really makes sense because you want that intimacy with the reader. You want the reader to follow you along. Like, hey, I'm showing you how to build, this bookshelf, and I'm talking to you. You need to do this. You need to do this. Or, you're trying to help people with a self-help book. And so you're going to say, hey, if you are feeling, or if you're making it personal to that reader. If you're writing fiction, it's very, very different. You're looking at some of the pros of writing in second person can be that it's very intimate. It's the narrator sharing the story with the reader personally, like addressing the reader personally and telling the story to the reader on a very personal level. So it's very unusual. And that is another one of because it is so rarely done, that kind of gives your book a very stand away from all the other books in the genre feeling, because most people don't write that way. So you've got kind of a very unusual and very unique way of telling the story. Now, the cons of this is that it is very, very difficult to write that well in novel length. In short stories, it's not as hard to do because you can tell, a short story very easily to someone. But if it is like a novel length, 70, 80, 90,000 words, your reader, and this is one of the reasons why it's actually not very popular among readers, it can be actually very exhausting for the reader because you are like continuously talking to the reader. And so the reader is kind of getting taken out of the story. It's hard to follow a story when they're constantly saying your, what do you, what would you do? What do you think? And it really takes them out. So think of like like those, adventure when you were a kid and you were reading the choose your own adventure kind of stories. It's kind of like writing a mystery like that. And most people who read books don't want to be a part of the story. They want to read the story. They want to try to figure the story out. They don't want the detective to constantly be talking to them. Now, having said that, if it's done well, then it can be very powerful. But it is hard to do well. And I will tell you, when I was in my probably my mid-20s or something, I read a book in second person. And I can't remember the book anymore because I really didn't like it at all. And I didn't finish it. And I remember thinking oh my God, I just want to see the story. Stop talking to me. And that is literally how I felt when I was reading it. And so I haven't read it. And it's one of the things that has always deterred me from reading books by people who write in second person, because I had that really negative experience. So if it's written well, it can work really well. It can make you stand out, but you have to be careful and it has to be really well written. So those are some of kind of the cons that go with writing second person is that because it is unusual, a lot of readers don't like it, and it can really take the reader out of the story. And if it's a story you're trying to tell, you're going to kind of take the reader out of it. Now, let's move on to part 2, which is third person limited and third person omniscient. But before I get to that, it's time for your crazy law / writing prompt. And if you're new to the podcast, every week I give you a crazy law. And this is a law that once upon a time was a real law in history. And your challenge, should you choose to accept it, is to write a short story based on that law. And it's just kind of a way to flex your writing muscles and maybe give you a little bit of a break from your work in progress. So here we go. This week's crazy law. In Atlanta, Georgia, it is illegal to have musical horns play Rockabye Baby on diaper service laundry trucks. What a random law that is, and kind of fun to kind of see what kind of a story you're going to write with that. But all right, let's move on to third person, because third person is maybe one of the most popular ways to write. So I'm going to start with third person limited. And again, it can be either past or present. You're writing third person limited past or third person limited present. The pros and cons are for both. Now, some of the pros of writing in third person limited, it is, by the way, one of the most common ways to write, is that you are in one person's point of view, and it's usually your main character, but you can change to another character's point of view if you need to. So for example, one of the series I have is in third person limited, and most of the story is taking place through my main character's point of view. But once in a while, I want the reader to see what is happening with one of my other characters, so I can shift to that character's point of view whenever I want. And so if you do this, just be careful. You need to make sure your reader knows you're shifting, points of view. And you can do it with something as simple as a scene change. You double tab and now it's a new scene, or even a new chapter. Either one is perfectly acceptable, and you do want to do something like this so that your reader does know like that you have changed to a different character's point of view. But it is something that writing in third person allows you to do that you cannot do when you're writing in first person. And yes, it is true, if you're writing in first person, you can change to another first person character, and you can do that in like a different chapter. I do know that it is far less popular in first person because the purpose of first person is to kind of get to know that main character really, really well. But it is possible. Maybe you want two characters to be known really, really well, and you go back and forth between the chapters, between the two characters. And I have seen that done very, very well. I think Rick Riordan's Kane Chronicles is a great example of that. Both two characters in first person, and he just changes chapters when he does them, and it's done very, very well. But for a lot of writers, writing in third person gives you an opportunity to shift from your main character to a different character if you want a different scene to be seen by the reader that your main character isn't seeing. And you can do that with 2 or 3 different characters throughout the book, but it is usually most of the book is still in one character's POV, so you kind of still get that intimacy with that character. Now, again, that's another one of the pros, is that you get to know that main character pretty well because most of the book is taking place through that, but you're not limited to just that. So that's kind of nice. And it is a little more objective than first person. So you are kind of not necessarily getting that same intimacy that you're getting with first person, but you still get to know the main character pretty well with first person limited. Now, some of the cons that go with first person limited is it is indeed less intimate. So you don't get that same sense of intimacy you get with first person. And probably the biggest con that I have seen at any rate is that it can lead to more telling, not showing. So it's very easy for characters who write in third person limited, myself included, as I have caught myself doing this so many times, and some of them slip through the cracks and end up in the book, in the published book anyways. And that is that you tend to do things like, because you're writing in third person limited, you're like, Steve looked nervous. Oh my gosh, no, that's telling the reader that Steve looked nervous. You still want to keep that showing, right? Steve's heart began to beat faster and he wiped the sweat off his palms on his shirt, or, something where you're showing that he's nervous without telling the reader that he's nervous. And it's so easy when you're writing in first person limited to kind of get into that sort of telling, but that's okay in your first draft. You can always fix those later. All right. Moving on to third person omniscient. And a lot of authors, especially new authors, think they're writing in first person omniscient, and they're really writing in first person limited and just kind of changing the characters. Now, first person omniscient means that the narrator of the book has access to everyone's thoughts, everyone's actions. There's no limit. He has an all access pass to everything that's going on. Now, some of the pros of this is exactly that. The narrator has access to everyone, every character. And so it's kind of much more objective. It is great for books that are more plot driven than character driven. Like, you don't necessarily want your reader to get to know one character really, really well. You want your reader to kind of see all the characters of your book and what all of them are doing. It's great if you're doing a mystery where you have this mystery scene that happened and you want your reader to see all the different points of view, what every character has seen. And the detective is kind of like not really they're like kind of like the main string that's stringing all these other character stories together, but the story's not necessarily being told through the detective's eyes, but through all the characters' eyes. And that's kind of a cool way to tell a story if you're writing a mystery and you don't want the main character to just be that, detective. Now, the negative with that is that you have to be very, very careful, because that oftentimes, especially with new authors, that they start head hopping, where you're in this character's head and now you're in this character's head and now you're in this character's head. And so you have one scene, but it's like through 4 or 5 different heads. And that can be very jolting for the reader. Like, you have to do it in a way where you have one voice, one consistent voice telling the story through each of the different characters' eyes. And that's hard to do, because when you get into this character's head, you want to kind of sound like this character. And then when you go into that character's head, you want your story to then turn to sounding like that character. And then when you go to this character's head, you now want the story to sound through that character's head. And so you change your voice through each of these characters. And that can be very jarring if it's done over and over and over and over and over again constantly, because you don't have a main character. And that's what head hopping is. And it's very, very easy to do when you're writing in omniscient. And that is a very, very jolting thing for the reader. You really have to think of writing in omniscient, telling the story in a consistent voice, whether they're telling this character's story, what this character sees, or what that character sees. It's that same narrator voice telling each of the different stories. And that can be very difficult to do, which is why writing in omniscient can sometimes be a very difficult thing. But if done well, it is fantastic. So there you go. Now you kind of see what some of the pros, and obviously not an exhaustive list of pros and cons, but what each of the different ones. Now, which one is the right one for your story? Well, only you can really answer that question. So if you're really trying to debate between, I don't know if I want to do third person limited or if I want to do first person. I just don't know if I want to do third person limited or do I want to do third person omniscient. I just don't know. Then one exercise you can do is you can take one of your scenes and write it both ways. Write it as third person limited, where it's one main character, and then maybe shift slightly to another character's point of view, and then back to your main character, and then again through another character's point of view for a little bit, and then back to your main character to make it first person or third person limited. And then write the scene as an objective narrator, writing the scene from each of the different characters' points of view, but keeping that same consistent voice. And you can do the same thing as writing the scene from first person and then writing it in third person and just feeling as which one just feels better to you. Because again, it's your book, you're the author, and you want to be comfortable writing the way you want to write it. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please, please, please give a like. Be sure to follow or subscribe. And remember, I drop a new episode every Wednesday. So until next week, stay safe, and I will see you all next week.